What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, so I'm very excited for this episode because I want to go over with you all the watches that I picked up in 2019, and then I want to share with you my 2020 shopping list. So kind of like all the watches we should be getting in 2020 are going to be in this video right now. Super duper excited. Who knows if I'll be able to knock off every watch on this list because I found myself getting a little bit more and more expensive taste, and just waiting for my budget, you know, to increase along with that. But you know, shop at the Time Teller shop, please. Please. But okay, first let's look at everything I picked up in 2019. It's 3:33 p.m. Let's get down to business. Okay, so I tried as best as possible to go in chronological order. This is a time-based channel, so it only makes sense that I'm trying, guys. So the first watch I picked up in 2019 was my Christopher Ward C1 Grand Malvern Moon Phase. Now, after reviewing this watch, I decided that I liked it so much, I wanted to have one for myself. It's got a 40.5 millimeter case. It wears much larger than that though, because the lug to lug is 48.5 millimeters. So guys, if you have a small wrist, this might not be the watch for you. It wears very flat, but again, pretty large. But it makes sense that it's got such a large case because of that enormous moon phase complication, guys. The thing that really made me, I don't know, the thing that really sealed the deal for me when it comes to this watch is that deep blue dial along with the highly textured, highly detailed moon. It's just gorgeous. It's just, it's so opulent in a way, so absurd because of that enormous moon phase complication. I just had to have one. Now, it's powered by an ETA-based 2836, but Christopher Ward modified it with their JJ04 moon phase module. It's got a very smooth 28,800 BPH sweep. Of course, it's got a sapphire crystal. It's got a date complication with very nice slanted step cuts, adds another dynamic look to that date window. And all in all, it's just a gorgeous watch. Now, I think they were kind of listing it as a dress watch, and most moon phase watches are dress watches, but I'm wearing it on a Man Cave leather rally strap. Special thanks to Man Cave Leather for supporting the channel and sending me those straps, and I kind of use it as more of a daily piece. I kind of pick my vintage watches when it comes to a dress watch, but this watch looks very cool just on an everyday occasion. I wouldn't get it wet. Has a 30-meter water resistance rating, but yeah, definitely not a tool watch, but a very cool watch nonetheless. So yeah, the first watch I picked up in 2019, Grand Malvern Moon Phase. Now we're gonna keep on going with this blue dial theme because the next watch I picked up in 2019 was the very controversial SPB O89 Blue Alpinist. Now guys, I need to kind of, I don't know, clear my name in a way because people hate that I have this watch because when it was released, a very, very sloppy release by Seiko and that other media company that starts with H, I made an episode complaining about how just terrible of a release it was, and everybody that wanted it essentially couldn't get their hands on it, and the scalpers had a field day, and if only they did their due diligence, excuse me, due diligence. If only Seiko and that other company did their due diligence, perhaps the release would have gone a bit more smoothly. Now, don't get it twisted. If you watch that episode, I don't complain about the watch itself a single time. I wouldn't have even gotten upset if I didn't want the watch. The whole reason I was upset about the release was because I wanted the watch. But people to this day comment, you know, if I take a picture of the Blue Alpinist on my Instagram, people are like, I can't trust your word because you said that you didn't want it and then you made an episode about it and then you ended up getting one. Okay, if you can't trust my word, then why are you following me on Instagram? I swear to God, my haters are my biggest fans. You guys, I know who you are because you're watching this episode right now. You subscribe to me, you click the bell icon. You guys are more avid viewers than my actual followers. You just can't wait to hit that dislike button or leave a comment, but don't worry, I know you love me. But anyway, the Seiko SPB O89 Blue Alpinist is a gorgeous watch and a gorgeous addition to my collection, personally because I'm obsessed with the Seiko Alpinist. Now, just like many of you, when I think Seiko Alpinist, I think of the Sarbo 17 green dial, but hey, blue doesn't look bad. I'm very excited for these new 2020 Alpinists, the matte black dial with the red font. They have two white dial variants, one with gold indexes, one with steel indexes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later in this episode. And then one with a green dial. So similar to the Sarbo 17, but different. But anyway, the SPB O89, let's talk about the specs a little bit. They listed it as having a 39.5 millimeter case, closer to 39 millimeters. Of course, stainless steel, 200 meter water resistance rating, shock resistance, threaded crown, internal rotating compass, in-house automatic movement. Just a very, very cool watch, very versatile watch. I wear mine on a Hadley Roma brown waterproof leather strap, but it looks good on a multitude of straps, even aftermarket bracelets, if that's your thing. I just love that watch. Moving on to the next watch I got in 2019 was the triple sensor Mudmaster GWG 1001A3. This is, in my opinion, the Mudmaster to get because, again, this is the solar powered Mudmaster with the triple sensor, not the battery only Mudmaster with the triple sensor plus a step counter. Now, I did a whole episode complaining about that one, but essentially that was a big mistake by Casio, for them to release the Mudmaster but remove the most important part of it, which is the solar powered capability. And then, okay, because we had a Mudmaster with a dual sensor and then we had a Mudmaster with a triple sensor, the only way to go is to add one more thing and say that it has a quad sensor, but instead of actually giving it another cool attribute, we're going to remove a very important attribute and give it a step counter. What the Anyway, the good Mudmaster with the triple sensor, the one that I got in 2019, has the altimeter, the compass, solar powered capability, the thermometer, the barometer. Very, very cool watch, a very functional watch, and that kind of is my SHTF watch. I can't say those words on YouTube or else I get demonetized. Now, if you want to see the full review of that Mudmaster triple sensor, click up here, but this is not a watch for the faint of heart. Check out these dimensions: 59.5 millimeters by 56.1 millimeters by 18 millimeters. This is a big watch. You're getting a sapphire crystal, again, the compass, altimeter, barometer, thermometer, solar powered capability. It does have atomic timekeeping. It has a screw down crown. Again, this watch has so many functions that crown, you don't really use it necessarily to set the time only. You use it as more of a mouse and a cursor to go into certain complications and certain settings. Very, very cool. Again, you're getting that resin band. I changed mine out for a Barton canvas strap. Thank you, Barton, for sending the channel those straps. Man, mud resistant, shock resistant. I've never met anybody that could find a way to break one of these, but yeah, who knows? Maybe when this channel gets a little bigger, I'll do a torture test on some of these more expensive G-Shocks. But yeah, absolutely love that watch, and a very, very functional watch in my collection. The next watch I picked up in 2019 is very near and dear to my heart because it was my 30th birthday present to myself, and it was a watch I've wanted for a very long time, a huge grail that I got to cross off my list. My JLC Reverso Classique Mechanical with the 846 hand wind movement. Let's see, 39 millimeters by 23 millimeters. Takes up a decent amount of real estate on the wrist, but it still maintains that Classique sizing. It's not enormous. Some of the bigger, more modern JLCs, I think they're just much too large on the wrist, and I'm a big dude and I have bigger wrists, but yeah, this one, perfect, and again, maintains that very classic sizing. But I mean, come on guys, what can be said about this watch that hasn't already been said? I've gushed and obsessed about this watch in multiple episodes. 18 carats of yellow gold, sapphire crystal, gorgeous light dial, very clean, just immaculate dial, playing off those blue hands. Incredible. It's just an incredible dress watch, although technically, you know, the Reverso has sports watch lineage. I'm obsessed with this watch, and it just brings a huge smile to my face every time I wear it. Has that factory ostrich leather strap by JLC. Every time I take a picture of that watch, people are like, oh, nice watch, but that strap, what is that strap? It's actually from JLC. So yeah, very supple, beautiful strap, and just a very special watch. You know, ever since I started learning about watches, the Reverso was one that I wanted I was obsessed with it, but I didn't think I'd be able to get one because, again, they're very expensive. But yeah, put the work in, and I decided to pull the trigger on one for my 30th. And man, that's a watch that will be in my collection forever. The next watch I got in 2019, kind of hard to outdo the JLC, and I don't think this one quite outdoes the JLC, but it is a heavy hitter in my opinion. My Vacheron Constantin, because people get upset when I say Vacheron Constantin, but again, it's my watch, so I guess I'll call it whatever I want. Stop making fun of my American pronunciations. My Vacheron 4533C small seconds, 35 millimeters of 18 karat yellow gold, factory black gilt dial. Again, it's just a gorgeous, very classic. When I think vintage Vacheron, this is it. I mean, what more could you ask for? Precious metal, small second, factory black dial. It's impeccable. 74 years old and it's still going strong. That watch is crazy. The second I saw it, I pounced on that baby, and yeah, I'm in love with that watch. Again, not as special to me as my Reverso, but in my opinion, the Holy Trinity, AP, Patek, and Vacheron is king. And if you want to see exactly why I picked that Vacheron out of any other one, click up here and watch that episode. And the last watch I was able to get my hands on in 2019 was the Boulder Expedition version 2 Mount Sinai. Now that watch is a badass watch, and I've already taken it on a bunch of trips, most recently up to Lake Tahoe in the cold, and boy, did that tough watch come in handy. 41 millimeter stainless steel case has got some sort of PVD coating. I've banged that watch up. There's still not a visible scratch. It's just a crazy tough watch. Powered by a Swiss Sellita SW201 automatic movement, hacking and hand wind. It's got a 38-hour power reserve, sapphire crystal, 200 meter water resistance rating with dual threaded crowns. The bottom 4 o'clock crown sets the time and date. The top threaded crown actually actuates more of like an internal timing bezel. Again, for the version 2, they got rid of the compass and they made it more of like a functional timing bezel. I wish they kind of kept the compass, but if you want to see that comparison between the version 1 and the version 2, click up here and watch it. It's got a 14 millimeter thickness, not too unwieldy. It's a substantial watch on your wrist, but I mean, it's a far cry from like the Mudmaster. And it's got a 46 millimeter lug to lug, so again, it's actually very reasonable on your wrist. And if you're looking for a very, very durable, very unique, in no way classic field watch, this Boulder Expedition version 2 might be the watch for you, and I've had a whole lot of fun with it. So guys, those were the watches that I was able to get myself in 2019, but what are the watches to get in 2020? Well, I'm very excited to share that list with you right now. Well, the first watch I want to get in 2020 is an Alpinist. That's right, I got one in 2019 and I'm probably going to get one in 2020. I think I'm going to go with the white dial variant. I've seen a picture of 2 different versions of the white dial variant. I've seen one with gold indexes and one with silver indexes. I like the cleaner look of the silver indexes. Now, this new 2020 Alpinist, they have different reference numbers. They have new movements with upgraded power reserves and cyclopses over the dials. So if you, or over the date complications, I should say. So if you don't like magnifiers on your crystals, this might not be the watch for you. Now, the movement and power reserve, those aren't the only things that have been enhanced. The price tag has as well. These are coming in around like $750, $720. I've seen a few different prices, but it's gonna be a pretty penny. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to be nearly as affordable as the Sarbo 17 was. It's even going to be more expensive than the SPB O89. But if you're looking for an enhanced, I love that in movies, when they're like looking through like security camera footage and like they're doing all the CSI tech and they're like, enhance. Now zoom in on that, enhance. And the movies are always from like the 1990s, and somehow they get like perfectly clear pictures and these crappy security camera footage. It's totally not realistic. Let me be clear. Anyway, if you do want an enhanced Alpinist, then you know, these are our options: white dial, black dial, green dial. If you want a green dial Alpinist, get the Sarbo 17. Do yourself a favor, get the original. The next watch I want to pick up in 2020 is the GShock Neo Tokyo. I've been sleeping on these, man. I mean, I wanted them the second they were announced, but I just haven't gotten around to picking one up, and I want one so bad. You know, it just reminds me of when I was little, watching Akira, one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my favorite animes of all time, watching their motorcycles, the trailing brake lights going through Neo Tokyo, whipping around, those sequences of them fighting on the bikes. It's just so cool, and yeah, I love the uses of purple and the splashes of brighter colors like yellow and red. It's just nuts, and it'd be a fun, kind of funky, everyday, futuristic watch to wear. So the GShock Neo Tokyo, probably going to add one to my list in 2020. Now, speaking of a watch I've been sleeping on for a very long time, it's a watch I recommend on my channel like all the freaking time, the Bulova Lunar Pilot. I have a thing for like space chronographs. I'm fortunate enough to have the Omega Speedmaster 25th anniversary Man on the Moon. I have the Seiko 6139 Silver Dial All Original. Those have both been to space. But the Bulova Lunar Pilot has an equally interesting history. It's been to space. It's a very wearable, very functional, very fun watch to wear. I've worn them, I've seen them, I've handled them. I've never owned one. And they're so affordable. You can get them brand new for like under 400 bucks sometimes. It's just a no-brainer. So yeah, I think the Bulova Lunar Pilot, that's something I want to add to my collection in 2020. Now, speaking of Bulova, okay, there aren't a whole lot of watches I like from this company, but they've been doing some things right lately, okay? The Joseph Bulova collection, specifically the Joseph Bulova collection Salmon Dial Tank, Swiss-made, automatic. So cool. When they released these in Basel World 2019, I freaked out, and yeah, gorgeous watch. They have tonneau cases, they have circular cases, they have tanks, just a few different options for you guys, and yeah, I think I would go with a Salmon Dial Tank. Again, I run a vintage shop, so looking at these watches, it's like you get all the aesthetics of a vintage Bulova, but you get all the functionality, all the capabilities, and kind of all the strength and robustness of a modern watch, so you don't really have to baby it or worry about it. I think Joseph Bulova knocked it out of the park with that collection. Next on the list of watches I want in 2020, please, 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 please. Seiko Prospect LX, reference number SNR025. Dude, you know I have a thing about like field watches, rugged watches. This is a Seiko Prospect watch with a compass bezel and a spring drive movement. When they released these Seiko Prospect LX spring drives, this was the one that I could not stop staring at. I'm obsessed with this watch. It's like $5,000, so it's one of the more expensive watches on the list today. Not the most expensive watch on the list today, because the next watch I'm going to talk about, boy. But this watch, man, is so cool, super functional, super badass. Come on, dude. All the functionality of a robust Seiko Prospect with a spring drive movement. It's not cheap, but it would be a really fun watch to wear. And last but not least, watches that I want to get in 2020. You know what? I'm gonna have Gato total the prices of all the watches I want to get in 2020, so that we can kind of, I don't know. I don't want to even do that right now because I might make myself sick, but we're gonna put the total up on the board right here. The Rolex 1016. Boy, this is a watch I've wanted forever, and finding one in good condition that I can actually afford is gonna take me a long while, but this is the Rolex Explorer to get. Okay, I have the 40mm Explorer 2, 16570, red GMT hand. That is just such a fun, functional watch, but this 1016, with its 36mm stainless steel case, maybe even, you know, a patented tropical dial with puffy indexes on the bracelet, on maybe, you know, a weathered leather NATO strap. You just can't beat that. That is such a badass classic watch. And when people say Rolex Explorers, that's what I think of. And man, someday I'd like to get one. And I'm not a betting man, but I always bet on myself. So, you know, if I make the right decisions, who knows? I might be able to get one in 2020. So restock at the Time Teller shop. Click link in the description below and shop there. No, but seriously, guys, I would love to get all these watches, but as you can see, the price here for all those watches this year, that's gonna be a lot of money spent on watches. I probably should stop buying coffee. But guys, please, let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I love doing this. I love making shopping lists when it comes to watches, building collections in my head, looking at what I want to buy next. I mean, come on, that's the fun of watch collecting. So make your own list for 2020 and leave it in the comment section, and let's talk there. I'd love to see what you guys are planning on. I'd love to see what you guys want to pick up. Even if it's just, you know, hopeful watches, because let's be honest, who knows if I'll be able to get any of the watches on the list today, but even if it's just a wish list, leave it in the comment section. I want to see it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you laughed, if you learned something, if you want to see more, then you know there's a whole bunch of ways to support the channel. The easiest one is just to hit the subscribe button and watch the content. And if you're here, you're already doing your part, so I want to say thank you. Now if you want to go above and beyond, again, there are a few different ways to support us. Affiliate links for some watch related items in the description below that will take you to my Amazon store, and you help the channel out a bunch that way. Or you can go to my personal website, www.thetimetellershop.com. That is the #1 place to buy vintage, affordable luxury watches, inspected, serviced with a 1-year warranty. Check those out, guys, because everything there is handpicked by me. And yeah, you can buy your first, or you know, it doesn't matter if it's your first or if it's your 101st vintage luxury watch, and you'll get the confidence of buying it from the Time Teller. So guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with everyone you know. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time, I just tell it. Love you guys.